Let's get it on!
Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon insiders, Sean and Tristan Ducross.
What's up, people? How we doing tonight? I'm Tristan Ducross. This is Sean Ducross. We are the Ducrossbros Sports Warriors. Thank you guys for tuning into us tonight. A little bit of a reboot. So tonight, incredible show, Sean. Right from top to bottom of this, I would say it's one of the unique shows that we have because we got Triller that's coming up. We got AEW All Out that happened over the weekend. We have AEW Dynamite that went down tonight, and boy, do we have issues with this show tonight. Let me just tell you. So, spoilers ahead. If you don't want to hear spoilers, then you're going to want, when we get to the AEW Dynamite portion of the show, just skip forward. You don't want to hear it. UFC potentially having a little bit of issues with their pay-per-views possibly in the next two of them, I think it is. UFC 267 and UFC 268 might have a little bit of complications in store for them heading into the big fights. And then we got a little bit of wrestling to finish out the show, Sean. So we're a little bit everywhere tonight. But in overall, it's very interesting show. But as a lot of people may know, the Triller Fight Club Legends 2 has a change to the fight card, and that is mostly due to the fact that Oscar De La Hoya got coronavirus, COVID. Maybe you should have taken that horse dewormer, and he would have been able to fight it off, according to Joe Rogan. Just saying.
But if you hear Joe Rogan says that CNN is blowing that out of proportion.
Yeah, he should sue CNN, according to him.
Right? Like, he didn't take a dewormer. He took something that was actually prescribed to him. So we will see what that entails going forward. But, I mean, it sucked to see Oscar De La Hoya, a legend in the sport, laying in the bed, looking oh so bad, if you will. And to see that outcome of Oscar De La Hoya and then seeing this fight being put back in a weird way, I almost say that Evander Holyfield fight against Vitor Belfort is probably a little bit more intriguing than Oscar De La Hoya versus Vitor Belfort just because of size. If you look at the size of Evander Holyfield and you look at the size right now of Vitor Belfort, I'm more inclined to believe that Vitor Belfort is the guy you don't want to mess with.
No.
And then you look at Oscar De La Hoya, like, yeah, he squeaked away from this fight. But it's interesting because this is Triller Fight Club Legends 2. And it was supposed to happen at the Staples Center. It was supposed to happen and be help supported by Oscar De La Hoya and Tito Ortiz. But now this fight's been moved to Florida because California won't sanction Evander Holyfield. And yet we still don't even know, fans, what this fight is going to entail. We don't know if it's a pro day, if it's a pro bout. We don't even know if it's even a relatively an expedition bout. We don't know anything yet. As of 24 hours ago, There was nothing on the table about which way this bout was going to go. All we know is been moved to Florida, and it isn't even sanctioned at the moment.
At some point, you would think that this fight card, regardless of where it's being held at, regardless of who is fighting, you would think it would be a pro fight. But Evander Holyfield at 58, this late in the game, to get ready for a fight against Vitor Belfort. Granted, we're talking about boxing, right?
Right.
And we just saw the Jake Paul versus Tyrone Woodley and what that was like. So it doesn't surprise me that Evander Holyfield at 58 would say, hey, let me take this fight on short notice because he can do it. His Instagram shows that he can still go. But then again, it's videos of him just boxing and sparring. It doesn't show me anything of him inside of a squared circle. But it's against Vitor Belfort. Unless Vitor Belfort is on TRT, I think I got Evander Holyfield still.
Which I guess we're going to see just in time as to what the drug testing regimens are going to be.
Oh, there's going to be none. They're going to bypass this whole entire thing altogether. They're going to try everything in their way not to get tested.
So then I guess it going to Florida makes sense?
Absolutely.
Because Florida does what Florida does?
It's very possible. If you're looking for a way around it, dude, look what they did at the beginning of this CV issue that we have.
The other thing, too,
if they have a way around it, they do.
So this fight is going to be set for 8 rounds, 2 minutes apart. Like, why are we announcing the rounds if we don't even have a clear indication about what the bout is? All we got a clear indication is that it's a sideshow. We talked about this the last time when Triller developed, and we talked about the commentary team being atrocious, and it's like, hey, give your boys a holler. We'll show you how fun can be done.
Instead, they go and get Donald Trump.
And Donald Trump Jr. And they're emphasizing President Donald Trump. President Donald Trump in everything they do. Last time I checked, he's not the president.
But they still call President Barack Obama. They still call President George Bush. It's just always going to be synonymous with their names. So I get that part. But, man, you're literally taking food off the table of somebody that has earned to call fights. God. So I almost guarantee you Donald Trump ain't calling the fight. He's going to be some kind of jokester that he's going to be there for that sole premise alone. I've heard so many issues with commentators lately. It's ridiculous. You just saw tonight, Jim Ross, got one of the best guys, former best guy in the business. He called a spine buster a power bomb. You've been in this industry how long? How are you going to call a spine buster a power bomb? All the respect in the world to Jim Ross. A spine buster is a spine buster. A power bomb is a power bomb. Kevin Nash didn't do a spine buster for a power bomb. So now you're taking fake commentators and putting them in a realm that they have no idea what they are doing.
It's one of those situations, Tristan, that it's just weird. Weird to see. Weird to hear. You know, and I know we're going to listen to Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr. doing whatever type of commentary they're going to do on this fight card just so we can rib them coming back again. So it's one.
Dummy, yeah.
Which one did you just do?
Dummy, yeah. Sean, we can't keep. Commentating has become a job of ours. And we know a lot of people that are in this field as commentators. originally when we were brought in as commentators, we had to do a lot of research and a lot of understanding of what it means to call action, to call a fight, to see it, because we're essentially two of the same people. And there's usually typical two roles when you're doing commentating, right?
Yeah. The play-by-play and the color commentator.
We've had to do 3-man booths, 4-man booths, just Sean and I. And it's been a very interesting topic. You can't change the way our dynamic is on the mics. You can't.
No, so all we can do is change and alter and just blend off of each other.
Correct.
But you get guys like our buddy Jonathan King
who kills it.
Who does Lights Out.
Yep.
You think he sits back and he probably looks at this and goes like, really? I've been doing this on the independent scene, if you will, for a long time. And you get guys that come walking in and it's like, hi, how you doing? Like, it's an opportunity that anybody in our field would love the chance to do. So Triller, guys, anybody that gets our video, send it out to Triller. Send it out to Triller. Tag us. Tag our boy Jonathan King. Get somebody with a little bit more respect on this, because I thought Nigel Lithgow, who was supposed to be transitioning this over and making this more streamlined and more like, yeah, this is a legit business. This is a legit event. Well, why are we going backwards for Legends 2?
You know, it's all about money, and I get it. But when is enough making combat sports a sideshow? We have been in this field, in this world, for a very, very long time. First MMA talk show on ESPN in San Diego. First MMA show in Montreal, Canada, on the reservation in Ganawagi. That was us. We were all first. Guys like Jonathan King, guys that have put in the work, deserve more respect. And I'm looking at all these people that are being put into spots like ours. Call me, what's the word I'm looking for? Sour? Call me sour if you want. But the fact is that people like this, celebrity status, should not be in the same world as combat sports. If you do not participate, you are not a fan of it, you should not be in this world to give your opinion on it. Fair?
Fair.
To put these two guys in it, just because they showed up at a UFC event and they were live on TV, doesn't mean they could talk about it. There's even some NFL players that have a microphone that talk about the sport, but you can't talk about the sport at an educational level because just because you played it.
God, that reminds me.
Fair?
Fair, because that reminds me of a video that I just saw of the new First Take. And
Michael Irvin?
And who's replacing Max Kellerman?
Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. ESPN has round out of things. So by running out of things to come up on their own, they look across the spectrum to Fox Sports. Do you know where I'm going with this? Where is Stephen A's nemesis? Skip Bayless.
Yes.
His First Take spinoff on Fox is with
Shannon Sharp.
Ironic, right?
But you replace Max Kellerman
With Michael Irvin.
A guy who has single-handedly that does this for a living.
So now we're possibly going to have to hear two guys know nothing about combat sports and talk about it on national television. That's cool. How has our sport and the love of our sport have gotten away from everybody that has built the foundation and laid that foundation. The Carlos Krabers out here in San Diego, the Jonathan Kings out here in LA, the people that have literally bled, sweat, and tears in a place like this. And we got to turn on the TV to watch guys that have no idea what they are talking about. And Triller Legends 2 will be no different.
We were always told when we got into this field that in order to make it big in this field, you have to know somebody.
Know somebody to get somewhere.
We're not one of those people that have ever exploited that.
Nope.
Never. We've seen other people in our network.
Oh, yeah. Exploited.
Exploited it. And bravo if they can. Bravo if they want to. I'd rather let my hard work speak for itself and do whatever we got to do. Hustle, grind. It's always been just the two of us.
Facts.
But this is where we're at. This is why we're where we're at and not where we should be. Trust me on that one. Trust me when I say that.
A lot of people may not like this. They may not be fan favorites, but these are facts. These are spitting knowledge and facts. 100%. If you don't know who we are, you might as well Google because we've been here for a minute.
Right. We might not have the viewership that everybody else does, but you damn sure know who we are.
Yep. Everybody in this circle knows who the Ducross brothers are.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Different.
But you know what? Good, bad, or indifferent. Triller Fight Club.
It's going down regardless of what our opinion is.
Right. And Donald Trump Jr. are still commentating despite our liking of it. But we are going to go to break. We will come right back with some AEW All Out Fallout.
Oh, that was great. More with the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors. Cross that line every Wednesday at 7:30 Pacific. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We are the Ducross Brothers, a new breed of combat sports talk show with Sean and Tristan Ducross. We give you our honest opinion with humor, intellectual conversations, and we are educated on the sports that we know. MMA, Muay Thai, professional wrestling, we got you all covered from every single level. Tune in to us Wednesday nights on twitch.tv/the Ducross Brothers. You can even find us on Twitter at the Ducross Bros. You can find us on Facebook and all the socials. You can see it on our live video when we go live. You'll see the handles. Follow us. Show your love. Hit that donation button. In the meantime, follow us. Stay up to date with all the new talk shows that we got coming up for the month. What's up, everybody? We are the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross. Along my side, as always, is my brother, Sean Ducross. See, here's our socials. It's kind of different look. Down here, our YouTube, The Sports Warriors. Go ahead, look at it, sub it, follow it. For all the videos that we have ever done is archived on there. Twitter, at the Ducross Bros. You can hit us up on Twitter. Talk to us about combat sports, professional wrestling. We got you covered. Also down here on Facebook, our fan page at the Ducross Bros. Got us. We got our sponsors right here. I Love Auntie for all your CBD needs. Use promo code The Ducross Bros and save yourself 10% off of your purchases. Down here, ESPN Plus, you want to break on your subscription, go to our fan page at the Ducross Bros and save yourself a break on that monthly subscription that ESPN Plus has so you can catch all your local, not your local, but your MMA needs, your combat sports, everything known to sports is on that streaming platform. Go get it. In the meantime, we're the Ducross Brothers. Cross that line with us Wednesday nights. We are in the Warriors Den, like always, every Wednesday. We are back to doing this at your regular programming. So in the meantime, AEW All Out happened over the weekend, and wow, did it blow all expectations out of the water? Did it live up to the hype? And there were some debuts that one we didn't even see coming, honestly.
So when you talk about AEW All Out, one thing that you want to talk about the level of quality of the show is like if you could have a perfect show, this was the perfect wrestling show, period. On top of that, you know it's legit when our dad at the end of the pay-per-view looks over at it and goes, that was well worth the $50.
That was the best $50.
Wait, what? Wait. So out of the $50 that we spend for MMA fight cards, for other fight cards, you're telling me that AEW All Out was by far worth the $50. Okay, Dad, I'll take that. And we were talking about it throughout the whole time, was that when you talk about flawless perfection of a promotion, of an event, this was exactly that. Because this was the first time that we saw wrestling inside a square circle, storytelling from start to finish, not overselling, not being over dramatic, not fighting on the outside. The only thing they settled for, it was like as if there was discussion a while back that like when the Lucha Brothers go on, is like you can't do certain this, you can't do certain things like this. But Tristan, one thing was that they did was that when you looked at it, was they knew the match of the night was going to be Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks, whether it was in the middle of the card or not. That was the event of the night that they were built. That to me, they built the matches around.
Yeah, I can see that.
They knew that was going to be a spot fest. That was going to be excitement. There was going to be moves there that was going to make you go, oh my God, throughout the whole thing. So they built that card smart and can't ask for more than what they did on that night. There was a couple of issues I had about the night. Was the referee in the Miro match, like, what the fuck?
Sean, language.
I'm just saying, like, what was he doing? He looked discombobulated. Then the fans started
You
chanting.
asked me what his name was.
Yes.
You could tell everybody his name.
Well, what's his name?
Bryce Remsburg.
Oh, that was his name? And I asked you who?
You said, huh?
Because I had no idea. But Remsburg.
You asked me what his name was. I told you what his name was, and your response was, huh?
We must have been talking about something else in that moment, and it just went right over my head.
But yeah, Bryce Remsburg was the
so
referee in the Miro fight as well as in the fight tonight.
Because I was so confused about AEW Dynamite tonight that I probably just went like, what the...
That is very strong possibility because AEW Dynamite, I told you after the AEW All Out where you had the debut of Ruby Soho.
Yes.
You had the debut of Bryan Danielson.
Yes.
You had Adam Cole, baby! Got to give you props for that. We nailed that. So you had those debuts. I asked you, and we were talking about it, that I felt like that this could be a letdown show.
And it felt that way, but we'll get to that in a minute after we talk about All Out. So it was funny because we talked about the best match of the night, which was Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks. And in that insane cage match.
Is it bad that I felt everything?
But there was moments in the cage match that I looked at you and said, "Oh no!" Do you know what they were?
There was one.
And I literally called it out. What was going to happen?
I don't know.
I told you that. Oh man, we're going to see the typical Mexican wrestling rip of the mask at some point.
Oh
and
yes,
bleed.
yes.
We saw that. And then explain to me how you can take a shoe with thumbtacks, lick it with a ridiculous looking face, and not cut your tongue?
I don't know. He was really light on that. Let's be real though. He was like,
Was
he
he?
was like barely touching it.
What?
I can lick a thumbtack and not bleed.
Okay, so then I'll give him a pass on that one. But that was a unique spot though to use a thumbtack.
Facts.
was put it on an Air Force One tennis shoe. So that was unique in itself. That was interesting. The fact that Penta jumped in the way of Rey Fenix was unique. I didn't anticipate that. The older brother's like, no. But what would have been dope is that instead of like you know how he slid in and he defended his brother, it would have been really dope if he would have went, no, and he took a super kick to the face. That would have been dope. Yeah. Like, I took one for you, bro. But instead it's like, no, please, don't do it. And then whack, get super kicked. Like the theoretics in it were like,
I felt as a brother, I felt that moment, Sean, when Penta stood in front of Phoenix. I felt that.
I would have felt it more if I saw a drive-by. Like, I took a shot.
I don't know. Even at that moment, as being a brother, standing in front of your younger brother, knowing that thumbtack Air Force One is coming at your head, I'm taking that shot for you, man. Taking that shot for you. I felt that. But what I loved the most about the ending of that was the fact that Penta called for his family. They were crying inside that ring. So you saw emotion from them. You got that connection with the fans because then he gets his daughters. He gets his wife that hops the guardrail.
Mikey Ruckus coming out and doing the intro song for the Lucha Brothers was dope. I got to say, throw up the zeros and throw up the M. That was pretty dope. That was pretty dope. Like, that whole walkout was pretty dope. Even though you got, what's his name? The guy in the red suit that came out with the Lucha Brothers?
I never remember his name.
Like, man, he's a little wonky.
But he's their interpreter now. Well, mostly for Penta.
Yeah.
Because Penta's the only one that 100% when he talks, it's Spanish, period. Where his brother seems to be a little bit more open to talking English.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they put a mouthpiece with them. But, man, one of the best tag team battles that I have seen in quite a long time, especially inside of a cage. Like I told you, I think the last time I saw a tag team inside of a cage was New Day versus the Usos. And that was an incredible fight between the two of them.
Can you imagine that if those two teams, and those two teams I'm meaning Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks, were in a Hell in a Cell?
The cage almost reminds me of a Hell in a Cell, but is it
just
because their cage is like super high?
Feels kind of super high, but it didn't drape on the side where they had a lot of play.
No,
but they had
I don't like
play,
that.
But they had enough play on the apron though, which I liked.
I'm not a huge fan of this cage though, because it's like it gives you enough play, but then it doesn't give you enough play. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I was surprised how it ended. I thought we were going to see a sacrifice. Like Penta was, I thought it was going to end based on a sacrifice. Penta was telling his younger brother to go up to the top. They're having that conversation. It's like, you just go. You just go. Knowing that the end was near. I did not anticipate that ending. And our reactions at the end of that was indicated.
If anybody knows how to, if anybody can explain to me how I could do live reactions so I could do
on Twitch,
like I've seen a lot of these people do live reactions. So if somebody could explain to me how to do a live reaction of a sporting event, that'd be great.
Because I mean, we're already on TikTok. Just follow the Ducrossbros.
Yeah. Sean got us on TikTok. That's just we're going to work on that too, I guess, on all the socials.
But at least we're just sending our clips over to TikTok.
Yes. But even live reactions on TikTok, like if somebody can explain to me how to do that, I'd be more inclined to try and do something different. But I don't know. I just like the overall vibe of the pay-per-view. I like the main events regardless of what happened to Christian Cage. The title change, awesome. The women's match, incredible. Britt Baker is on another level.
Except for bad, dude. That was a bad curb stomp.
Got to learn how to sell it. You have to. You knew that was coming, and she got legit knocked out by a curb stomp.
True.
You know you're taking that bump. You know what you're doing. You just took it 3 times in that match. And the third time, you botched it. You were able to take it multiple times throughout the night in that fight, and somehow you eat it at the end. I don't know. It happens.
I felt that the Adam Cole surprise was nice because, like I told you, I popped for Adam Cole when he came out because it was one of those things like I didn't anticipate him to show up that quick. I knew that Tony Khan said that he was working on multiple surprises for this fight. I already told you that Ruby Soho was probably going to be in the Battle Royale when nobody else had that one. But I told you, like, don't be surprised if she showed up. That wouldn't happen. But Adam Cole was a surprise to me because it was just, they said just Friday his contract was finally officially done with the WWE.
And the fact that he was still having conversations with Vince McMahon up until Sunday.
Bro, did you hear the ridiculous contract thing that they offered him?
No.
They wanted him to go to the main roster as a manager, is one of the reports.
Yeah.
What? This is Adam freaking Cole we're talking about. And we're talking about him being a manager on SmackDown? For who? For what?
And now we're also thinking about, Sean, now we're also hearing about Kevin Steen, a.k.a. Kevin Owens, fight. Well, his contract might be coming up sooner rather than later.
January 2022.
And there's even speculation that he might be going to.
Well, because he teased it.
Yes.
He teased it. He put up, I guess, what he tweeted out and then he since deleted it. But it was a tweet about the
longitude, latitude for Mount Rushmore,
which apparently was Mount Rushmore of Kevin Steen, the Young Bucks, and Adam Cole, and then posted that photo of them, and then tagged the location saying almost there. What?
You know,
but then you got Mick Foley,
who says
who
WWE
went on Facebook Live and said WWE,
we have a problem. You and I were talking about the landscape of professional wrestling possibly changing when you get Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, all jumping ship. CM Punk coming back after 7 years. A lot of people said that this is like the outsiders coming. You can't compare the two. The NWO was the NWO for a reason, and
the
what they
elite
did.
Is the elite, or the Bullet Club is the Bullet Club. I like the fact that they finally dropped that whole Bullet Club thing.
And just called them the elite.
Yes, and admitting to them being the elite because they were the
subgroup
of Bullet Club.
Yep.
Just like you got the firing squad of the Bullet Club in New Japan with Tama Tonga and his family.
So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting now that as the landscape changes and where it's going.
Right.
With Mick Foley saying that WWE, we have a problem, I absolutely agree with that. Because there's two things. One thing I did not like was with Vince McMahon saying that it's not competition. It may not be competition to him.
But you know what, Tristan? Let's go on to that. Let's talk about that. WWE has a problem. But let's go into break in a second.
And then come back out for it?
Come back and go into that because I want to elaborate. It's on our rundown tonight about some stuff that the WWE did on Monday Night Raw that has me scratching my head. And then you said me about the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, left me scratching my head. So now you got me interested. I want to touch on that one before we go into UFC talk here coming up.
All right, so we'll run it back. We're going to go to break.
But by the way, if you watch AEW Dynamite tonight, watch it because it was one of the worst shows ever.
I agree.
I'm just saying that.
We are on record as saying that this was not a good show from the promos, from the in-ring work. Like I said, letdown, 100% it was a letdown.
Disjointed, disconnected, botches, awkwardness, all night.
All night. But we're going to break. We'll come back out. We are the New Cross Brothers of Sports Warriors, a new breed of combat sports talk show where we cover from boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, professional wrestling. We got you covered from all aspects. We cross that line every single Wednesday right here, part of Twitch. You could get us on YouTube. You could get us on Facebook. Anywhere on the socials. Just search the Ducross Bros or the Sports Warriors and you'll find us popping up. In the meantime, every Wednesday, 7 to 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you will find us live. Right. You'll find us live. Guaranteed it.
So we're back.
Give a shout out to the sponsors.
Go for it.
I Love Auntie for all your CBD needs. Just use promo code The Ducross Bros at iloveauntie.com. Get a break on your subscription at ESPN Plus, and you can get a break on your subscription. You can watch MMA, boxing, and all other ESPN events. It's incredible. Great streaming platform. I'm getting used to watching college football on it too. So college football is back too. Yes. Even though my team lost this weekend, freaking LSU lost to UCLA. What the hell?
At least we didn't lose to Montana.
Yeah, about that. At least you're not pescatarian and you lost and you had a quarterback throw 10 touchdowns. That was an incredible feat. But Sean, so WWE has a problem, right, Sean? Where does WWE go from here? Because what we have seen and where we are going, because we have spoken about the competition. Where you go as a professional wrestling, when you use the words competition, you think of WCW versus WWE back in the day. When I see competition now, I think what AEW did against WWE NXT on Wednesday. I get that war. That battle was won and NXT lost. There's a lot of other underlying issues with NXT since that. Competition, I see amongst fans. Competition, I see possibly against wrestlers. Because when you perform, you want to perform at the highest level. I see AEW performing for the fans. I see WWE performing for TV. Does that make sense?
Yes and no, because I don't even know how WWE is performing for TV. Because what they put on Raw was about as disjointed and discombobulated as AEW Dynamite was tonight, but worse. Because why do you have Bobby Lashley trying to become a double champion? And then same thing with Randy Orton. Like, do you literally have no other feuds that you could possibly do
or nobody,
at the top of the food chain?
Or nobody else on the roster that you can feud with?
Right.
We get Randy Orton.
Or you get a random, let's just drop Alexa Bliss into the ring and not say a word, and then get an opportunity at Charlotte Flair
for the WWE Raw title.
Let's just randomly just throw stuff together and just go, nah. Like, what?
So the whole interruption and the whole storyline that she had with Doudrop and Eva Marie's gone.
Right, because now it's Doudrop
versus Eva Marie.
Like,
but no, Sean, see, a lot of television writers, if you're good writers, you go from TV show to TV show, episodic episodes, right?
Yeah.
when I'm looking at the WWE and they're creating for a TV audience, I honestly believe that they are knocking the intelligence of the people that are watching their program. And I mean that in terms of when I'm watching them, they want you to forget what you just saw last week because it's an episodic episode. So they're like, this is a new episode. This is what's happening on this show, not compared to last week.
There's no rhyme and reason to what we're seeing right now on Raw. It's just a hope and a pray.
See, we as fans or as traditionalists, when we watch TV, we expect a long-term storyline telling with a, like Bubba Bully Ray has said enormous amount of times, is that with a beginning, middle, and end.
It's not that hard that when you've got a successful program like SmackDown, how you're so discombobulated and disjointed on your main flagship program.
100%.
Makes no sense whatsoever. And the fact that Bobby Lashley and MVP are fighting RK Bro. So you got them fighting them for the tag team titles, right? They put those two guys in tag team turmoil where they beat tag teams like New Day, Viking Raiders, legit tag teams. Then the mashup tag team of AJ Styles and Omos, they beat them because that makes sense. So you put over a makeshift tag team over legit tag teams who should be getting an opportunity at RK Bro. RK Bro is a regurgitated gimmick that was written up years ago with the Rock and Sock connection, which again, why are you doing this? Because they're doing the same shenanigans with Rhea Ripley and freaking Nikki Ash. You didn't know that until I just said it, and you're like, wait a second. Yeah. They're writing, they just say, basically like, RK Bro, this is successful again. Let's just do this again with the women.
Okay, so based off of that, we get Disney on Ice and Snoopy on Ice in the WWE for WWE Raw.
There you go.
Okay, fair enough. I feel bad for anybody on WWE Raw. That used to be the A show. Clearly is not. Fox got the money. USA got the shaft.
More ways than one. Because then you also hear, too, that the NXT, the guy that reported from the Wrestling Observer, I think is what his name was, Bryce Alvarez or whatever, that did the report.
Yeah, the guy that nobody likes, apparently.
Yeah, that reported last week that Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are the men behind the scenes now of NXT. And then quickly, Fightful Select, I think, reported that he was wrong and that they all held a meeting. And they're not the ones behind the scene. I guess only time will tell which story was right.
No,
right?
Behind the scenes is Vince Russo. I'm joking. But I'm just saying the WWE NXT logo is just about as bad, and they're going to change the whole Capitol Center too.
Guess what? I got other ones for you. Now you want to talk about NXT? I got one for you. So we got Mandy Rose, right? In NXT.
With the broken nose.
Right.
And the two black eyes.
God, that makes sense, right? Horrible sell job, but that's a different story. But anyways, she comes back, right? She gets Gigi, and she gets some other girl, right? What gimmick are they regurgitating now?
Trish Stratus?
No.
What?
Well, she kind of looks like Trish Stratus with that face thing. But no. The group she showed up with Sonya Deville and Paige.
Oh.
Absolution. In NXT. Regurgitate. You know the guys, Hit Row?
Yep.
I'll give them props. Much better personality-wise. Much better in the ring. But where's that gimmick kind of regurgitated? Masterpiece No Limit Soldiers. Ha ha! Got you!
You are... I give you props.
Nailed it.
You're investing your time in professional wrestling.
No, I'm not. It's the fact that we're regurgitating, or the WWE's regurgitating stuff that worked in the 90s and hoping and praying that it's somewhat relevant
Do you
now
think
to this generation.
Okay, so AEW's hit the demographic of like ours, right?
Yes, AEW's hitting our demographic. Yes.
So would it be fair to assume that WWE has thrown in their hat and will now go after the younger kids, i.e. the superhero, i.e. the
RK Bro.
Yeah, RK Bro, the more hilarious side of things, to sell merchandise rather than cater to professional wrestling fans? More now, instead of being we're wrestling entertainment, more focus on the entertainment side now 100%.
Then you better hope you can sell your merchandise still, or else you're not
But
going to.
Do you think that is kind of along the lines of where we're going, that we are now seeing? That's why I kind of brought up the competition side of things, is because when I see competition, I think of what we saw back in the day. Remember 83 weeks? That's what I see. When I see this, I think competition more among fans, not as wrestling companies, because one's professional wrestling and one is entertainment based.
Right. And I get that.
So we're going to have to start looking through different lenses,
I guess,
to talk about WWE Raw, because it's different than SmackDown.
by far.
SmackDown kind of still resembles a little bit of a professional wrestling company,
Yeah, what's left?
where Raw is more now about the kids that are in the front row, the superheroes, the woo, we're going to have a good time here, Snoopy on Ice kind of aspect. That's what I see in WWE Raw. So us as fans should stop comparing the two, because if we're looking at WWE as a whole, they are still up here.
Chris Jericho said it, that give it about 6 months and they're going to be Raw in the ratings. We'll see exactly what happened with the ratings here coming up with AEW Dynamite tonight, even though it's a disjointed showing.
God, I felt bad for that show.
It'll be interesting to see what the ratings are coming in later on this week or next week. So we'll go ahead and to talk about that one. But Tristan, break or just finish out the show right now with UFC looming issues?
Let's skip the break and let's go into UFC 267 and UFC, what is it, 268?
No, 267,
268
are both having what I view as looming issues. And they very well could not be looming issues. But when I looked at my wife last night, as I was going over this, I was like, wow, we could have a legit issue and may not see these events happen in the current respective cities.
Right. And the respective cities that we are talking about
is
Abu Dhabi
and New York. Let's start with UFC 267, okay?
In Abu Dhabi, October 30th.
That is headlined by 2 fights. Peter Yan
Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira.
and Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. Why we say there's looming issues is due to the COVID restrictions. Abu Dhabi has perhaps
Still one of the strictest.
Yeah, by far. When I read about the restrictions, I looked at Fallon and said, God damn, how's this?
I don't want to be in Abu Dhabi. I'm good right now in the United States with our issues between Republicans, Democrats, and the people in the middle.
Because let me just start off by saying this. So in order to get into Abu Dhabi, you have to be on what they classify as the green list.
Which is, what was the app that they have to be on? There's an app that they have to be on. It's called like the Al Holson app.
What? I didn't get that part.
ALHOSPN app. You have to be on that app with that green status. You have to show that you are registered on the app, that you have taken the test, and either A, you have to prove that you have taken the PCR test, or you have an allergen test.
Yeah, and but because they're not on the green list, Tristan, the other thing too, they have to show proof of the vaccination upon traveling.
Yep.
They have to have a PCR test done after landing and 2 additionals done as well while you're there. So
Thank you, boss man.
So you look at that and it's like, it's interesting because the restrictions are so much that when you look at it and you go, oh, okay, well, they got to do this, they got to do that. Well, it's not just for the fighters. It's not just for the ones that are traveling. So in fans in attendance, they have to show proof of vaccination. They must take a PCR test within 48 hours to attend the event, must maintain social guidelines, and oh, by the way, they only can fill up 30%.
Sean, how many people, after we talk about this subject, between these two UFC events, how many people are going to start talking about this? I'm just throwing that out there. Because ain't nobody talking about this subject but us. The fact that 87% of Abu Dhabi is vaccinated with at least 1 dose. 75% of the people are vaccinated. Completely full. Whether you believe in vaccination or you don't, you want to call this a hoax because you're a Trump supporter, whatever it may be. Yes, I went there, Sean. Deal with it.
Awkward.
Either way, not as awkward as Adam Cole's story time. But when you're looking at where we are at right now in this world, the fact that you have to have a vaccination to go to this place, to fight in this place, with the strictest guidelines outside of what we were seeing in this world. We are still here in this pandemic. We are still fighting through these doors every single day. They have one of the strictest. You look at what's going on in New York,
where UFC 268 is going to take place.
Right. You have Michael Chandler, one of the biggest flip-floppers in terms of the vaccination. Go on Instagram, live feed. He says, I will only get the vaccination if it's FDA approved. It gets FDA approved and he backtracks. In New York, you have to show proof again that you are vaccinated.
But the drawback with that one, Tristan, is the fact that the only people that do not have to show proof of vaccination are the fighters. So Michael Chandler gets a pass here.
I thought that was only for the fighters that are living in New York.
Not from what I saw. Not from what I read.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so Michael Chandler gets a pass. He's not going to have to face the media scrutiny underneath that microscope.
Okay.
But the thing, though, about that is, again, the restrictions to get the fans to the attendance. You have to show vaccination or negative COVID test 6 hours prior to the event.
That's your that word, that antigen test.
Or the negative PCR COVID, or have a negative PCR COVID
within 72 hours of the event.
Right.
So again, when you're looking at these added restrictions, everybody that's bitching and moaning about this COVID stuff, take the vaccination. I don't know where you're sticking it in my body. I don't know. Knock it off. Just knock it off. I don't care. But when you are talking about events like this, that I remember them a while back using the word super spreader events.
Right.
With the fact of the new variants, regardless if we get a variant, like it seems like every freaking day we get a variant.
Because we got the Delta variant and now we got the Mu variant.
Yes, exactly. It's like we get variants every single day.
It's just like we get the flu, we get the swine flu, we get the other flu and we get this flu and we
I'm
get
just,
this. Like,
I'm just curious.
I'm at the point that COVID is a flu.
I'm just
one of bad
right.
flu.
But
and
Sean,
it's going to be there for decades.
Sean, I'm just curious. Okay, I'm just curious. Can you humor me with something real quick? Because as
I've been humoring you with wrestling talk.
I do appreciate it.
Isn't that good enough?
I do appreciate it.
Okay.
But I do want you to humor me because if you look at back in the day, we had a thing called Black Plague. This virus is slowly coming up to that. Was that fake?
No.
Did that wipe out almost a whole entire population at one point?
I think it did.
Could this very well do the same thing? It's possible. But last time I checked it, it's not fake. It's here. We've lost people to it.
Right.
Regardless of where we're at right now, vaccination should be, regardless of how this is taken, I honestly believe that everybody at some point will have to show proof of this, Sean. They will. That's where we are going. You don't want a passport? You guys should have thought about a long-term solution and a long-term process than where we're at right now. Instead of battling with each other, battling against each other, battling about showing proof,
Isn't it?
you have two events here that would have thousands of people in attendance, right, Sean?
Hey, just call up them boys in Texas, and they can move them over to Texas because Texas apparently does whatever they want. Go over there, call your boys in Florida because Florida can do whatever they want. I mean, that's the theme.
Only
here.
bright thing about this is that UFC,
go to Vegas,
right?
You can get it away in Vegas,
Right. The only bright thing about this, is the fact that we are talking about UFC, right?
right?
If anybody at a drop of a dime, if anybody can grab a whole entire roster and promotion and an event and shift it somewhere else, it's to UFC. They did it before,
They can,
and
do,
they
it
can do it
again.
again.
So if this becomes a red flag for them, they can easily pivot
100%.
and move the fight card. No problem, because like I said, the restrictions are loose in Texas. The restrictions are loose in Florida.
Nevada.
The restrictions are loose in Nevada. There's plenty of opportunities to pivot. So that's why I said, like, dude, there's looming issues here that financially
Real looming issues.
it's an issue. So I would say this is a wait and see process moving forward. But it's going to be unique to keep tabs on. I'm waiting to see how many people are going to finally touch on these potential
On our
looming
way
issues.
out, real quick, Fightbook MMA, our boys over at Fightbook MMA, great people. Check them out on Facebook. We talked about this at the beginning of our show.
They finally found us over on Twitch.
Right. Thank you for finding us over on Twitch. Belfort's going to kill Holyfield.
We said that at the beginning of the
Yes.
show.
Because I'm sorry. I'm mean no disrespect, but I swear, I think Vitor Belfort's back on that TRT stuff. Like, you look at him, in the immortal words, he looks like a jacked up fruit booty.
Wow. Let's bring back that old saying that we haven't said in almost a decade.
I did. It's going to be in the next couple of months, it's going to be interesting to see where we are in a combat sports world, because we got two cards that have issues with
October
this.
30th and November 6th.
We have
Watch.
a Triller event that might see our first killing on live television. We have professional wrestling changing the landscape. And we have boxing that is in the foreground.
At the end of the year.
No.
We're not even at the end of the year.
No, we're
yet.
not. And we still have boxing in the background
Ay,
with
Dios
Canelo
mío.
Alvarez that's still out there. We got big-time boxers like Earl Spence that ain't nobody talking about except for the bad. Wait, Fightbook likes AEW? You need to get on this. We need to have an honest conversation about wrestling. But anyways, that's it, right?
Yeah.
That's all we got. Thank you guys for tuning in to us.
Fun little mixture of goodies for the fight fans and the wrestling fans.
Right. Trying to bring combat sports, professional wrestling together in one hub because there's not many shows that do it. And if you're a combat sports fight fan or you're a wrestling fight fan, at some point you need to be together as one because it's still in the same kind of area, right?
Even though MMA fighters and everybody else is like, it's
right.
wrestling, me. Well, guess what? Wrestling fans are here. MMA fans are here. We
mix
bring
the
them
two
together
Yes, we do.
in harmony, in sequence, in unity. But we are the Ducross Brothers. We will see you next week.
Yes, we will.
Let's get it on! Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.